Hey, what's up? What the devs focused on pretty clearly is giving players tools to tailor those huge Megatech projects while smoothing out a bunch of placement, printer, and multiplayer hiccups that were turning big builds into bigger headaches. The headline for most people is that the new custom game toggles let you change how megastructures behave. Recipes, ingredient types, required quantities, and even print speeds are now adjustable, which means you can tune the pace of your mega builds to match how you want to play, whether that's powering through with fast prints or making every block feel earned. Those same custom toggles reach into environmental stuff too, so gravity levels, plant growth timers in the biodome, and a few orbital platform settings are on the table. It's a surprisingly thorough toolbox for people who like to experiment with the sandbox. One of the biggest mechanical changes is a recipe rework across several of the megastructures, intermodal terminals, the biodome stages, museum stages, where the material costs got dialed down quite a bit in many cases. That matters because when the cost of a single anchor or module is astronomical, players either end up hoarding resources or spending huge sessions farming the same nodes. Reducing those recipe numbers keeps the sense of scale without the tedium. For the biodome, this also complements the new plant growth modifiers, so you can both build faster and tune the agricultural side to be faster or slower, depending on whether you want your greenhouse to be a steady food source or a careful project. It's probably the clearest sign that the update is about balance and accessibility, making megastructures feel epic without forcing you to treat them as a second job. The patch also irons out a ridiculous number of small but infuriating bugs. Things like construction anchors previewing in the wrong place, holograms appearing red after a saved load, anchors spawning upside down on landing pads, and various multiplayer desyncs with the Mega Printer have been addressed. Those fixes might sound like nitpicks, but when you're building something massive and the hologram won't snap to the terrain the way it should, it breaks the flow of building in a way that's hard to articulate unless you've been there. The update makes those core building interactions feel reliable again, and that alone will change how comfortable people feel committing to multi-hour Colossus projects. There are a few quality of life touches that are worth calling out because they change day-to-day play. The Mega Deconstructor now converts plants back into recoverable seeds, so you don't lose progress when reorganizing biodomes. Hydrazine canisters interacting with thrusters and oxygenators has been clarified and fixed in several situations, and a number of museum-related UI and donation bugs have been patched, so the collection and reward flow isn't interrupted. Multiplayer got attention too. Fixes for players getting stuck when rejoining and controller interaction problems with anchors will save a lot of, wait, why can't I grab this moments. The net effect is that the systems that support megastructures feel more robust, which both solo and co-op players will appreciate. For people who really love to tinker, some of the more specific custom options are fun because they let you effectively create your own sandbox rules. The Intermodal Terminal can be set so hydrazine and integrated canisters acts as infinite fuel. The Orbital Platform allows customizing how many chained megaterrain platforms you can attach and how strong gravity is there. And the museum donation thresholds can be changed so you can make the museum a speedrun objective or a long-term collection project depending on the vibe you want. There's a caveat from the devs that certain custom modifiers may restrict access to some missions or content or could reduce performance. So if you crank everything to extreme settings, you might hit edge case issues. But for most players, these options open up a lot of creative possibilities without breaking the game. If you're into the nitty-gritty numbers, the patch notes list exact reductions for many of the megastructure recipes. Things like resin, aluminum, ceramic, steel, and various alloys were adjusted across the intermodal terminal and biodome stages to lower thresholds significantly in many places. That's the kind of change that makes a tangible difference when you compare an hour of farming before the patch and after it. Builds that once felt like multi-session commitments now slide into the doable in an evening category for a single focus session, which is great for community content creators and for friends who just want to team up and build something with less resource tedium. Lastly, there's a long tail of miscellaneous and legacy fixes that smooth out regression issues from earlier updates. Everything from correcting packaged item icons to fixing visual flicker on certain vegetation to ensuring that DLC ownership checks display correctly in menus. Those updates don't grab headlines, but together they tidy up a lot of edge cases that have been annoying players for a while. If you're jumping back into the game after some time away, you'll probably notice that the whole experience feels cleaner and more predictable, especially around big builds and community shared projects. All in all, this patch is one of those updates that quietly reshapes the player experience by shifting the balance and removing friction points rather than introducing a single flashy new toy. The Megatech systems are more customizable, megastructures are less punishing to build, and a heap of small fixes make building and multiplayer more pleasant. If you're planning to start a new mega project or rework an existing base, the update makes that a lot less of a headache and a lot more of a creative exercise.